love the sound of color. But yeah, let's start. So yeah, this is going to be the breakdown of EURUSD. As you, yeah, whatever. So yeah, we're basically going to break down why I decided to look for a bullish bias on this day, which was Friday. I think yeah, it was Friday. Why I decided to look for a bullish bias on this day. So let's start. I think it was Friday, was it? Let's see. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. The high. Okay, yeah, it was Friday, right? We're basically going to break down why I decided to use this area for buy and to have my stops right around here. Damn, I'm back home. The bargain they actually forgot me, but yeah. Or let's see. Yeah, hopefully everyone is staying safe and yeah. Let's see. What's the 1M? Yeesh. 1M. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to start from the monthly chart as usual, and yeah, I just want to show you. It's really nothing new, but you know I'm really bullish on EURUSD, but I'm allowing myself to be flexible as well because we we can potentially just start trading lower, you know. So yeah, this is what we have on EURUSD. Come on, man. Why are some of the things not working here? Oh yeah, I think I have that magnet tool activated. Let me change that real quick. So basically what we have, we broke below this low, right? We didn't necessarily break below it, we just traded below it, but we failed to stay below it. So what does this mean to us? It means that the market took some form of liquidity below this area and it wants to offset it on the other side, right? So it did that. It did that right here, where when we broke above this high, right? And then from there, that's when we saw price trading back into this down candle here, and then we got the bullish move. So potentially what might happen on EURUSD is that we might trade above this high. That's a potential move. It's not an actual move that I'm anticipating. It's a potential move. So fine. I then drew this out with an open mind, and then I was like, okay, fine. We have this bullish bias. Looking at it now, before we had this bullish bias when we were retracing, right? And then we traded back into this candle here. So we're going to look at whether this candle, if there's any reason for us to look for shorts or to see this candle respecting price and then trading lower, right? So I mean, for price respecting this candle and trading lower. So what I then saw was that we broke above this high here, right? And then we broke below this low. So this to me is also a break of structure. If it's a break of structure, right? So fine, if this is a break of structure and then we retraced back into it, we should potentially see a move trade lower, right? That's a possibility. But then we also have this bullish trend here. This one, this candle might even support price to even break above here, right? So you need to understand that we're in an area where price can go either way. So whatever buys that you have, don't hold on to it. Allow yourself to be flexible because price can do anything at this point. Can even trade above. It can even trade above here and then come back to find support from this candle. That's a possibility, and then continue higher, right? Or it can just simply trade lower and then take out this low. You see, There are so many possibilities, but then we're going to focus on the buy that I mentioned there on. Yeah, so on the monthly, this is what I saw. I saw that we traded back into this area, right? And then we'll go to the weekly now. So on the weekly, we're basically refining the area that we got from the monthly. We're reducing it down to the most closest area that we might look at. So as you can see, we started here, right? What I looked for in order for me to refine is that we had this imbalance here, right? This one. So since while we were trading back into this area, we want to see price closing this imbalance. And then since while we have the swing high, I would most likely use it, because after closing the imbalance, I wouldn't want to see price trading above here, unless maybe it's still bullish, right? So fine, that's how you refine areas that you get from higher time frames, and you simply apply that on any other time frame until you get the most logical area. So on the weekly, as you can see, we traded back into it, but you can see price even went beyond this imbalance. So it means that we had another area within the weekly POI, which price traded into before trading lower, right? So we go to the daily now. So on the daily, just really looking clean right now. So on the daily, this is what we saw, right? Well, like, okay, fine. We have this imbalance. We have another imbalance here. We have this other imbalance here, right? This one. So when we are going to refine it, we're just simply going to use the high of the imbalance, which is this one, and then the candle which is close to it. And when we have a swing high like this one here, I just prefer using the highest candle here, right? In order for me to have a reduced area to set my stops. So this is just the zone from the daily, right? So you can see on the daily, we traded back into it nicely. So let's see if on the 4 hour we got another area. Sorry, it's the 4H, 4 hour, yeah. So on the 4 hour, I feel like it's gonna be risky. This one looks risky. If I had to, you see how we have this area right here, right? We took out this high, we broke the structure low here, we retested this candle here, we retested that candle here, right? So because we are refining, we have an imbalance here, but I'm not really confident with this high. I never really checked price what happened here, but if we were still going to refine to the 4 hour, we'd have to use this high. Like the low of the imbalance is where we'd expect the actual reversal, in my opinion. So I feel like there's a possibility for price trading above here. I'm not really sure. Let's see. I'm not really confident in that zone. So we almost broke above it. So it means that we had to refine up until the H4 zone. So now we will get to the actual reason why we looked for the setup, right? I was just giving you an idea of how to look for areas of reversal. So fine. How are we going to start now? Since all we got into this area, this H4 zone right here, right? And then we remember that we're anticipating a reversal, right? So any form of liquidity that we take out will be the target. But if we see a potential reversal, then we might expect a retracement after that, right? So fine, we traded back into this area. We took out these stops when we were trading above. when we were trading back into that area of resistance, right? And then we broke the structure here. After breaking that structure, we never really got a deep retracement into this area, which was our daily POI. So we'll mark it out like this. What is that? We'll mark it out like that. That's the area we should have potentially traded back into, but we traded back into this breaker right here. So fine, price continued to trade lower, breaking lows right here, and then continuing lower, breaking another low here. Let me remove this one. It broke this low. Actually, it didn't necessarily break it. It traded below it, but it failed to break it, right? And then it closed above. So this is a signal for reversal, right? Well, not reversal, retracement, right? So I then looked at it. I was like, fine, price rejected from here, and then it gave us this bullish move. So it shows that it collected some form of liquidity below this low. So it's also finding support from this candle here, because it doesn't want to break it. It doesn't want to break below this candle, right? I was like, fine, okay. If we were to find support from this candle, where would be the most logical area for us to look to target? Look at this highs here. You know, targets doesn't necessarily mean that you should always look for equal highs alone like this. You shouldn't always look for equal highs like this. You can always look for highs which look really clean, that, you know, support and resistance traders or trendline traders who use retests like this would have used that area. So this is also another form of liquidity right here. You can see all these highs here. So obviously when we are going to target the liquidity above here, we'll look at the highest candle. So I then, come on man, I'll then look at price trading above here. We also have the 2000 level here. So yeah, if price failed to break below this one, as I was saying, we would look to trade above the high right here, right? So we'll go to the 4 hour now and look for reasons why I decided to long EURUSD. So what is that? Let me just remove this one. So when I got to the 4 hour, I was like, fine, price traded below this low, it failed to stay below this low and then traded higher, right? When it was trading higher, it made this high and then made a retracement, right? So when we broke above this high, this was a signal for bullishness from the 4 hour. So we would anticipate a retracement and then a bullish move, right? And the bullish move on this time frame would be targeting this high right here, right? Because it's the last high that we made when we were retracing. So if you find support from here, you'd look to target this area, right? And also you can see that we have this area right here, which is a logical area where you would anticipate to see some form of rejection, and we got that. So on this time frame, we're already done with looking for bias. So I then went to the 1 hour, and then on the 1 hour, I then, since price was more clean on this time frame, I was like, fine, this is what I'm seeing. We traded below this low right here. We failed. We broke above. we made a retest, and then a continuation. All those things that we were talking about, right? And then we broke above, we made a retracement, and then a bullish move, right? I was like, fine. Since we made the structure here, we broke above this high here, right? And then we made a retracement, and then we had this high as well. We broke above it, and then we were supposed to get a retracement. We were anticipating a retracement. Why? Because we have, from the high of this candle to the low of this candle, we have a gap, right? This one right here, we have a gap. So obviously we have to close that gap. Let me do this. We have to close that gap and then find support. So this was the area that I marked from the 1 hour for buys, right? For buys. So on the 1 hour, obviously you wouldn't use a stop this huge. This is 20 pips. Maybe you could, but yeah. On the 1 hour, that's what I saw. And then we'll go down to the 30-minute now. So on 30-minute now, this is where everything looked beautiful, because because we had the structure here. We had the swing low, we traded below it, and then we broke above this high here as well, right? We broke above this high, and then we never really got a retracement back into this candle. So this candle was supposed to give us support. This is the one that I posted on, I think it was Telegram. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Telegram. I think it was from the M15. So on the M30, this is what we saw, right? The structure was looking bullish from this time frame, right? So we were supposed to get support from here. And yeah, let's go to the M15 now. So on the M15, remember that when we refine, we look for areas of imbalances, right? And we can clearly see that on the M15 that we have it within the M30. This is the M30 POI, right? This was the M30 POI, right? And then within it, when we are on the M15, we can see we have this imbalance here. We have this imbalance here. So obviously, refine it to the low of the imbalance, and then this is now the M15 POI, right? Because we refined it. So from there, that's where we would anticipate to find support. This is 9 pips, 10 pips, right? I think I posted this one. This has to be the one that I posted, because it was over 7 hour, I think. I'm not really sure. So on the M15, you can see everything. So let's go to the M5. So on the M5, you can see price action here is just a mess. Nothing visible. And by nothing visible, I'm just talking about imbalances within the M15 POI. So you can see there's nothing interesting here. And let's go to the M3. Still on the M3. On the M3, we can see that we have this candle here. And already, since we marked this area out, it means, let me show you something, because I don't want you to get confused. Remember that this is the M15 POI, right? And now we're on the M3 time frame. You can see that on the M3 we have this imbalance here. We have this imbalance above the M15 POI, right? So what does this mean? If let me not say it. Since we have the body of the M3 candle right here, we can simply use the low of this candle for stops, and would be trading also. You can see this is confluence. We'll be trading back to the body, to the open of this candle right here, and we wouldn't look to refine it above to this area of imbalance here. We'll just use the same M15 POI and then use the low of the M3 demand. So let's go to the M1 now. This is where the setup was found. So on the M1, I was like, fine, we traded below this low, right? We traded below this low, this one. We traded below it. Come on, man. We traded below this low right here, and then we tried to break the last swing high that we made, but we failed, and then we continued lower. And then from there, price then decided to break above, but then in breaking above that, this last lower high, we left an area which wasn't tested, because we were supposed to break above it and retest it before we continue higher. Since on the daily I was bullish, I then was like, fine, this is the M1, I'm just going to use this low, and then this is the M1 demand. But within it, you can see that we have an imbalance from the high of this candle up until this area here. You can see this area is the imbalance right here, so we need to close it. So since we're expecting a reversal from this area, we'll just use this candle and the low right here for stops. And you can see we also have a fractal here. What is that? So that was my whole setup on EURUSD for the buy that was sent on Telegram, and then I just set my buy limits right there. My targets were still above. You can see we then traded back to that area right here. We traded back to it, and then we found support. And you can see, what is that? Yeah, it's fine like that. Area of stops. It was a 2 pip SL, 2.2 pip SL on this trade. And let's see the targets. So for the targets, let's just say, because I didn't close, let's just target this high right here. All right. Just for us to see the, so that was a 1:26, 1:26, yeah. And You can see price easily traded to that area. Easily traded to that area. As you can see, this was the whole idea behind the EURUSD trade that I took on Friday. That's just the first trade. So right now we're going to focus on another one because yeah, there's still time. So this was that trade, right? As you can see. So we'll look for another one. This one. I think this one I sent it. It was on the 1 minute chart as well. For that other one, let me show you. For that second one. I was on the 1 minute chart, right? I was like, fine, we had this equal lows here. We then broke the structure here, right here. And by break of structure, you have to see a candle closing above that area of interest. It's the M1POI. So fine, we broke above here, we retraced to a key level in this area. I think it was this imbalance here. You can see we had an imbalance here and then the swing low. And then we took out that swing low and then started seeing bullish moves, but that's not the one that I had. The one that I had was when we broke above here. Since all this proved to be a continuation of a bullish move, we broke above here. And then we got a retracement, and then we made another break of structure here. What is that? And then we made a retracement again, another break of structure. Let me do this. I'm almost done. Another break of structure here. And then from here, this is when I was looking at the chart, right? For that second trade. And then I was like, fine, we broke above here. We have this area which we need to test. We shouldn't see price breaking below here because price is busy making higher lows like this. So we shouldn't break below here. If we break below it, we might see bearishness, but we saw price respecting this area. So I had my first buys from the high of this candle here, and then I had my stops below here. This was a 3 pip SL, and then let's see, I still think that the thing for the targets is still the same, right? Probably, yeah. So you can see, send you to back, bro. So that was the entries right here from, why doesn't it want to open? I don't know why it doesn't want to open. That was these entries here. That's where I took them from. And then we are also, I think I closed them when we were trading above here. I closed all of them. And then we had the last entries were these ones here, right? Were these ones from here, this one here. So let's go back here. So for those ones that, let me see that this was 1:14. This was 1:14. So for the other ones that we had, the last ones, I was like, fine, we already traded above here, right? And then price traded lower, and then on the 1 hour I didn't see anything clear. The reason why I took the bias is because I was still expecting upside. I wanted to see the weekly open being the target. Let me show you. I wanted to see the weekly open being the target because this was Friday. The period separators are here. Let me make them visible. This was Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. So the weekly open was around there. Let's see, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So the weekly open was there. And in trading to, with this being my target, right? This was my overall target. I was saying that if we are going to trade aggressively towards that area, we should easily take out Wednesday's high. I mean Tuesday's high as well. But we didn't do that, so fine. Since all I still held this bullish sentiment to trade to the weekly open, I'm not feeling good. So yeah, I then went to, where was I went to the M5, and then on the M5 price was somewhere around here, right? Price was somewhere around here on this candle. I was like, fine, we have this equal lows here, so how do I remove this guy? Gotta love the sound of soda. But yeah, so since all we traded above the high that we initially targeted, and also we traded into the area of supply where we would expect a sell-off from, and since I had my bullish sentiment, I didn't want to see price respecting this area that much that we would trade even lower. So I saw this equal lows on the M5. I was like, fine, we broke the structure here. We broke the structure here. We never tested this area because we still have an imbalance from here and to this low. We still have a gap, so we had to close that gap. I was like, fine, let me use the high of this imbalance to the low of it, and then this would be my entry, right? As you can see on this broker, it didn't fill, but yeah, on I'll check on other charts because this FXCM. So I was like, fine, let me buy from here when we trade below this equal lows, and then I would still hold my bullish sentiment to trade to the weekly open. And then, as you can see, we got filled, not on this chart though, we got filled around 250, because that's the area that we were trading around. It was the 250 level, and then targets, obviously, let's see, we're still going to be above here, but let's just keep them at the same level. So would have been an easy 1:5. So yeah, that's just the breakdown of all the trades that I took on EU this week. And yeah, hope you found this very helpful, and you can use it in some way with regards to finding trades. And let me see, should I show you that other one though? Let me just show you. Let's put this to the side. Let's just set it here, right? So I was away when it got filled here, and then we got this move, right? So what did this move do? This move, I think we have an ad here. This move broke the structure here. So on this time frame, we didn't break the structure, but since I'm bullish, this is possibly a break of structure on lower time frames than the 5-minute time frame, right? So I was like, fine, we broke above here. Then let's see on the 3-minute what we have. So on the 3-minute, we didn't really see anything beautiful. I'm just gonna refine it up until there. So we're going to go to the 1 minute. I want to show you that there were so many entries on EU. So on the 1 minute, you can see we closed above this area. We closed above it, rendering this area as a break of structure, right? So initially, if we broke above here and we took buys from here, from this candle, as you can see, if we took buys from this candle, anticipating a bullish move, and then price decides to trade above and then break this area, you have to look for another area, another logical area for you to look for buys. So you would look for buys in this candle. What did I tell you about imbalances within demand candles and supply candles? You refine your entry to that imbalance, right? So you can see this is the buy zone, and you can see we also created this low here. So this would be our area of liquidity when price has to trade into this area. It would find extra support. So you can see price came back into that area right here, and what did it do? It traded above, it broke the structure here. So obviously you should have been in the trade. I wanted to take the trade, but I was like, I had enough this week, so I had to stop. So this was around, let's say, it's 3 pips, but let's just say 4 pips, just for the sake of, yeah, let's just say 4 pips. And then your targets would still be for the upside. So let's see, what is that? So you can see price then on this, I don't know why FXEM is so weird. So you can see this would have been another 1:6 should we trade to this area, right? But my target is still higher, so you can see, let's see which time frame is more available. So you can see that the amount of opportunities that we had this week, it was 1:26, 1:14, 1:5, 1:6. So yeah, basically the most important thing is just risk management, and yeah, that's all I can say. But I hope you found this really helpful, and yeah, I'll see you on another one. 40 minutes, damn. I love you guys. Yeah, peace from Street Trader. Gotta love soda.